Have you ever stopped to think about how just one single word can change, well, pretty much everything? Today, we're diving into a really fascinating linguistic puzzle from a foundational text. It's all about the difference between the words mighty and almighty, and it opens up a huge theological mystery. Let's get right into it.
So, the whole question really boils down to this one verse. In a super important prophecy in Isaiah, a figure is given the title Mighty God. But in other parts of the Bible, God the Father is called Almighty God. So what's going on here? Why the difference? Is it a big deal? Well, let's follow the breadcrumbs and see where this path takes us.
And here they are, right next to each other. You can see it clear as day. On the left, from Genesis, you have God the Father being called Almighty God, or Sarvashaktiman. Then on the right, from Isaiah, the Son is called Mighty God, or Parakrami. Now, they sound pretty similar, right? But the argument we're exploring today is that this subtle difference is totally deliberate and incredibly important.
Okay, so to really crack this puzzle, we have to start with the basics. We need to understand what these two words actually mean, at least according to this specific interpretation. And you know what? It all comes down to scope and category.
So, first up, we have mighty, or parakrami. Now, this word isn't about having just, absolute unlimited power. It's about relative supremacy. It means being the strongest or the best, the most powerful within a specific defined group. You can kind of think of it like being the undisputed champion of a single weight class.
And then you've got Almighty, Sarvashaktiman. This is the heavyweight title of all heavyweight titles. It means you're supreme not just in one category, but over all of them, all at once. It's a power that's absolute. There are no peers, no comparisons. So the whole key here is that distinction. Are you supreme in a group or supreme over all groups?
Okay, so that's the theory, right? It sounds good, but does the rest of the text actually back this up? Let's dig in and look at the evidence. We need to see if there's a consistent pattern in how the word mighty is used in other places.
And here's a perfect example right off the bat. The text describes a lion as the mightiest among beasts. See that? It doesn't say it's the mightiest thing in all of creation. It says it's the most powerful specifically within the category of animals. This just perfectly illustrates that comparative, category-specific meaning we were talking about.
And here we go again. King David is called a mighty man. Once more, context is everything. He's mighty compared to other men. He's a great warrior among other warriors. The title is very clearly confined to the category of human strength and leadership.
And this pattern just keeps popping up. You see references to mighty angels, the most powerful among all the angels. You see mighty men, the absolute best warriors out of a group of 30. Even God's mighty hand is framed as the most powerful hand when compared to all other hands or sources of strength.
So, when you lay out all the evidence like this, the argument becomes pretty solid. The word mighty is used with this remarkable consistency. It's a term of comparison. It always points to the number one spot, but always within a specific league.
All right, so now let's take this understanding and bring it all the way back to our original head-scratcher from Isaiah 9:6. If mighty means supreme within a category, what on earth does it mean when the Son is called Mighty God?
And this is where it all clicks into place. The argument is that the title Mighty God isn't about being supreme in just one category, but in every single one. The text described this figure as having the mightiest name, doing the mightiest works, holding the mightiest power. He's the mightiest king, and, even the mightiest among all the angels.
So this leads us to a really logical question, right? If you are the champion of every single division, if you hold the title for being the mightiest in every possible category you can think of, then what does that actually make you overall?
And this brings us right to the finish line, the final piece of this whole puzzle. There's one more verse that connects this idea of being mighty in everything to the ultimate conclusion, and it basically resolves the entire question.
And boom, here's the key that unlocks the whole thing. The book of Romans flat out describes Christ as God over all. This verse is the bridge. It takes that composite picture, the idea of being mighty in all these individual things, and it slaps a summary title on it, Supreme over everything.
So let's just walk through that logic one more time, just to make it crystal clear. Step 1, mighty means you're number one in a specific group. Step 2, the text establishes this figure as being number one in every group, names, works, power, angels, you name it, which leads to step 3, therefore, being the champion of every single category makes you, by definition, God over all, in other words, almighty. And that is the beautiful solution to this whole puzzle. The title Mighty God isn't some kind of demotion or a lesser term. No, instead it's presented like a detailed breakdown, like a resume that shows how and why this figure is almighty, by being undefeated and supreme in every single domain that exists.
When you get down to it, this whole thing is a powerful reminder of how a single word choice, that tiny, subtle distinction between mighty and almighty, can unlock these incredibly complex layers of meaning and completely shape how these foundational ideas are understood for centuries. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden meanings are just waiting to be discovered in the texts we think we know so well?